I backtracked to the town of Belmont. This video is going to be slower, I think. Because it's about another reality that is not a mere concept, it's not a mere idea put on paper. It's not something that is fabricated to facilitate societal expectations and facilitate political folderol and infrastructure that's so necessary to piggies. Piggies need infrastructure. Piggies need fabrication, falsification, so they can implement things and change things and move things around within their fake little sandbox full of fabricated toys that they themselves produced for that very same purpose. What I'm talking about is not a mental construct like that. It's something completely different. There was actually a time, when things were new and things were inexplicable and things were a mystery. And I'm talking about reality, real natural happenings, events, objects. And they had to be explained somehow. And mankind did its best to try to understand what it was that was happening and to identify it without diminishing it, identify it without reducing it, and even taking it apart. That's how we got a lot of the biological information that we have now about life on this earth, down to such a minutiae of detail. Because of curiosity and because we wanted to explain it all. We wanted to understand it all. That essentially, in essence, is a kind of true way of doing things. But it can easily be warped and distorted if you throw in lies, false information, personal gratification, start calling things what you want them to be instead of what they really are. Science was easily demented and easily warped and distorted by personalities, sick personalities. So a lot of things became labeled and titled and confined and reduced. Not because nature was that way or the universe was that way, but because it was beneficial to the science religion. The days of actually identifying things for what they are, because it's all a big mystery, went away. And because it was perceived as going away, which would reduce political opportunities for science religion types, something new was added, something new was created, and that was fabricated science. Fabricated global warming, fabricated Bullshit here, queer shit there. False emphasis here, false emphasis there that brought these grant monies in, brought those grant monies in to those liars. Whoever was the most proficious liar got the grants. Because the grants were political anyway, and politics is based on lies anyway. So you're just lying to liars who have all of this money to deal out and have to be seen dealing it out to justify their queer shit existence as politicians. They've got to give out the money anyway. It's part of the scheme. It's part of the scam. It's part of the circus of liars. But what I'm talking about is not that kind of falsification. It's not creating something for the convenience of it. What I'm talking about next, I've already talked about the state of Iowa, what states really are. What I'm talking about next is called Terra-Form People. That could easily be misconstrued to be some convenient handle, some convenient nomenclature that some science religion type invented in his basement to have something to proclaim to the world, to draw interest to himself, and to get grant money and to get notoriety and so on and so forth, blah, 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 blah. The whole sickening, endless spiel of idiots, ships of fools, in a never-ending barrage of insincerity. Insincerity. Nothing sincere. And if you don't have sincerity, what you get is sinister. If you do not have the real values and the real virtues, and you do not have the real sincerity, what your world turns into is sinister. Planet sinister. No honesty, no decency, no goodness, no intentions to be honest, no intentions to be good, no intentions to do what is right. Nothing but sloth, self-aggrandizement, greedy grabbing in any way possible. And when that happens, the environment and the creatures inside of it spiral down into cynicism, sickness, and become sinister. Sinister actually becomes the predominant force in their existence. I'm not talking about anything like that. Terra-Form People is something completely different. It's an attempt, basically by geographers, to explain why some people become so in love with certain parts of the earth. Not necessarily because they were raised there, because as I just explained in my other video, being raised in a town out here doesn't mean butt kiss, because you may only travel 30 miles from your town all your life, which is not enough for you to realize what Iowa is. And I don't think it's enough to become a terraform person. You just become static. You become stagnant. You become too anchored, too rooted to where you are. A Terra-Form person is somebody who is capable of moving around and seeing a large swath, a large coverage of a geographical area, no matter what it is. Whether it's Iowa or it's Arkansas, it's western Colorado, it could be the Smoky Mountains, the Appalachian Mountains. In every case, the person is able to be mobile, move around, see a large cross-section of a geographical area, and really likes it. Not necessarily liking every place that he or she sees, but one kind of place really appeals to him or appeals to her. And they gravitate towards it. They like that kind of geography. They like that kind of environment, that kind of temperature, climate, humidity, the species of grass, the species of trees, the bird life, the animal life, the weather. And some people are terraformed to really severe weather areas. It depends on the people. I mean, it's enough to justify the claims that there's a certain percentage of Neanderthal in all of us. It makes you think that way. It makes you think that somewhere back there were Cro-Magnons and Neanderthals who were really grooving and really digging on harsh environments. And the worse the weather was, the more they liked it. Because some people are terraformed to some real hard-ass areas. Some real heavy weather areas. I don't know if I want to take you over dirt roads or not. We'll go south for a while. Terra-Form people, whether intentionally, usually not intentionally, or by the results of, I'm avoiding the word fate, the results of traveling, the results of getting out, the results of moving about, the results of living in different places. Because there's a certain comparative aspect to this. Most of the time people become enamored to, they like a certain geographical area compared to the rest of the world that they have seen. And it could be almost anywhere. Because people are naturally different. I'm talking about human beings, of course. I'm not talking about anything in a queer coalition. That would be absurd. I'm talking about human beings out here in the real world. We have a terraform aspect to our natures, to our characters. If it's at all possible, if you can get out, look around, see what's there, and make a choice. Usually there's a choice involved all of the time. And a terraform person will choose an area, choose a kind of geography that he or she really likes, having had enough experience already to say, well, this is not like there, or this is not like the other place, this is not like that over there, this is not like I saw here and I saw there and I wasn't too happy with this, it's a lot better than that place. And they begin to gravitate to that area. They begin to linger there. They begin to design their lives towards being in that kind of environment. in that locality. And it can be large or it can be small. I was just in eastern South Dakota, the green side, where it's really green. It's as green as this is here, and a little more lush. It's got more trees. And people don't understand this who don't live around here, but the glaciers that came through here during the ice ages did a lot of sculpting and a lot of its own architecture, its own operations on the Midwest a number of times, leaving indelible, permanent changes. And as they receded, they made even more changes. There's a terraform area in eastern South Dakota. It's also in western Minnesota. They're part of the same area. And as the ice ages withdrew to the north, they pounded the area and created a lot of pools, what are called potholes, glacial potholes, large ponds, very deep, in a scattered form, more or less going north-northwest as it withdrew into the Arctic. It pounded the land with enough material to drive these holes into the surface, which quickly formed with water and became a large system of lakes and ponds and potholes filled with water. And that is in eastern South Dakota. People who are not from South Dakota do not know that. But there's water everywhere there. The land looks like this, with more trees, actually, and a high fog content under certain conditions because there's so much water there. I mean, there's water everywhere there. You can't go 4 or 5 miles without seeing another pothole, another marsh, another swamp, another pond, another lake. And it's a long stretch. I think it's more than 100 miles. It creates a different kind of geography. It is its own kind of geography. That is a terraform, a form of geography. Some people are born into that and they probably really like it, but they have never been elsewhere. So they really just occupy it. But some people who have traveled widely find a place like that, and for some reason, they really like that. They like the humidity, they like the fog. I was driving through fog a couple of weeks ago in East South Dakota. I could barely see beyond the front of the truck. There was no rain, no clouds. It was the fog that lifts up out of all of that water, all of those ponds and lakes and swamps. I was in the town before I even knew I was in the town. Somebody is living there who chose to live there, having been elsewhere. That person is a terraform person. That person likes that area, likes the water content, probably boats and canoes a lot, or just likes the place. It's different from Iowa. It's not only more vegetation, everywhere. It's got such a high water content that it's got more wildlife and bird life than this does here. It's really different. And some people like that kind of difference. So they live there. It's usually more than subconscious. It's actually so pronounced that it becomes part of their conscious thinking. They want to live there. They look for jobs there. They build houses there. Places that to city people are out in the middle of nowhere are actually everywhere to those people. To those people, they are in the middle of everywhere. Not nowhere. Nowhere is the cities. Everywhere is their terraform. Everywhere is where they live, where they want to live. It could be the Badlands of Florida. It could be the Florida Everglades. It could be the islands south of Florida. It could be the northern forests of Minnesota. The canoe areas up in northern Minnesota. It depends on the geography, it depends on the person, and it depends upon the experience of the two when they combined. It's a little bit happenstance because Terra-Form people can go through places that under different conditions they would like. But when they go through those areas, the conditions are not right, the conditions are not pleasant for them, and they ignore the areas. They pass through, they don't look back, they never see those places again. They bounce around like a steel ball in a pinball machine until finally they hit an environment. On a good day, to them, what's a good day to them, in a good way to them, and the two click it off. The environment, the land sculpture, what it is, whether it's mountains or canyons or Iowa here, they hit it at the right time and the right way, and they are impressed beyond thought. They are impressed spiritually, essentially. They get a feeling for the place. They really like it. They may not even understand at the time that they're really liking it, but they do. They really seem to feel a kinship to it. It's sub-thought. It happens at a sub-thought level. I'm trying to put thought into something that's actually more at the electronic level than it is at the thought level. It's a feeling, too. It's a very large feeling. And this has been happening for as long as we've been here. And as long as people have been able to move about and see different places and then choose one over the others. And live there, build there, decide to stay there, and to defend it, and to develop it. That is how people should be handling alternate energy sources, windmill technology, solar technology. It should be the Terra-Form people of those areas that are doing it. Instead, it's completely aliens that are doing it that don't give a shit about anywhere. Care nothing about anywhere. Except their banks, their offices, and their houses. And that's it. It might extend to their automobiles, but don't expect that. We're talking about soulless, lifeless assholes that aren't even in the same universe as Terra-Form people. Terra-Form people are really special. They're really a result of, a growth of the planet itself and the natural inhabitants that live on the planet. If you know enough, you expect this kind of thing. If you know enough about the planet, this is exactly what you would expect. I've taken a picture of that before. It's quite understandable, it's quite expectable, because this is the way nature operates. This is the way any human species that is natural would exist here. Terra-Form people, they are the ones who know about their land. They are the ones who really feel it, because most of the time they were not born in it. They came to it from somewhere else. Once in a blue moon, you'll get somebody who was born in an area like this and joined the military or went around the world somehow or lived in another country for a while, came back, had a choice of places to go, may have drifted around, looked at different states, different parts of the country, and realized that he or she had already been raised in the kind of place that he or she wanted to live for the rest of their lives. They were lucky. They were actually born and raised in the place that ends up being their terraform, their place that was really the best for them. That happens. It's not often, but it can happen. The value of Terra-Form people is that they know what to do with the land. And they know what should not be done with the land. They've got a keen sense of the value of any geography, of any land area. Really. Somebody has already asked themselves what terraform I have. Well, I've seen a lot of the planet already. And I have to bow to gravity in this. I gravitate to one place, and it's called North America. I've seen a lot of different kinds of Terra-Form people. The majority are a kind of local Terra-Form appreciation society of one person. A one-person society of appreciation for one area, like the Black Hills of South Dakota or the Ozark Mountains. Sangre de Cristo Mountains in New Mexico. I've seen some of them. It's that mountainous area, the plateau area around it, the desert areas around that. The combination is their terraform. Essentially, northern New Mexico is their terraform. That's it for them. They like it, they love it, they've been elsewhere. No thank you. It's northern New Mexico for them. And that's all they need. That's all they want. Which is what nature wants. Which is what the planet wants. It needs that appreciation. It wants that appreciation. It needs those people. It wants those people. Those people reciprocate that love. They are the people who really know about a land. not necessarily the farmers that were raised there and have not been anywhere beyond a 30-mile radius of their own farmhouse. The farmers do not necessarily know what's the best for the land that they're living in. It is the Terra-Form People who have that extra everything between themselves and the land. They are the ones who really know what should be done out here. And they were the people who set this up. Who the hell do you think built all of this? Who do you think started all of this and put it together? People from Europe. People who had traveled across from New York and Boston, when it used to be called Boston. People who had seen large sections of the planet. They weren't even from this continent. They saw this. They needed the opportunities. They needed the land. But they also had the terraforming, the terraform essence, to know what was best out here, what was best to do. And they did a really good job of setting this up. Before the hog plants and before the butt-ugly windmills. But to answer your question, my terraform is the continent of North America. I have a continental terraform. There's no place on this continent I cannot go, and it is not mine. It's automatically mine. It's just me and the continent. It's my continent, and the continent owns me. I am it, it is me, indivisible. In a way, I've got all kinds of strings and tendrils and threads all over me from this continent. All kinds of wavelengths between myself and this continent. I'm never really separated from it. And I can go anywhere on this continent that's still part of the continent and not an ugly city. And it is me. And I am that continent. I am it and it is me. I am a continental terraform person. We exist. But more importantly to all of you is the smaller scale terraform people. The ones with smaller scales that have Iowa for a terraform, Minnesota for a terraform, Illinois south of 80 for a terraform. These are the people who know what's really supposed to be happening out here. They are out here not just 100 times, but 100,000 times. They've always been out here, looking, traveling, finally finding the place that is for them.